Good afternoon, viewer. My name is Violet Mbiti, and thank you for joining Real Talk Show, hosted by yours truly. Pastor, can you hear me? Oh, okay. Nice. So my camera where I am is not that clear. So, okay, just wait a minute. Anyway, I was trying to use an avatar because there's poor lighting here, and my guest lives in Canada, and it is 11 hours. They are 11 hours behind us, so I just had to do it at now. It is morning, their time. So today we are joined by Pastor Kelvin Chabogo, who's going to share with us his journey on how he moved to Canada. And he's going to start at least to let us know, like, how did he start, how was the process, and yeah. So over to you, Pastor Chabogo. Receive greetings from Kenya. Kindly share with the viewers regarding your journey.
Yeah, my name is Kelvin Chabogo. They call me Pastor Chabogo, but I prefer being called Brother Chabogo. That's my title. I'm born again. I think it's good to mention that I'm born again. I love the Lord with all my heart. Married with 2 kids. My wife is called Christine, and I've got 2 lovely kids. It's around 10 minutes past 10 here in Canada. So they are in school right now. And I don't know what else to say. Maybe Violet, ask me questions, then I'll be able to answer them one by one.
Yeah, so viewer, I will not showcase my because even you can see that my lighting is poor. It's poor because yeah, but so Brother Chabogo, I just want to you to share with the viewer, when did you start thinking of relocating to Canada, and what steps did you have to make so that you may travel there? And viewer, if you have any question, kindly post it in the comment section, and I will ask Brother Chabogo. Go ahead, Pastor.
Yeah, this journey began many years ago. It began many years ago. I believe there is a place called the place of calling. There is a place where God wants you to be, and by me saying that is because I'd always had that desire of relocating to Canada, and it had been my prayer from when I was a kid. So when I finished college back in Kenya in the year 2003, I tried applying to join a certain college that is based in Toronto, Canada, and I did not have the funds that were needed to join the school, because for you to join school you need to have proof that you have paid for the school fees, and you also need to prove that after you have arrived in Canada you have money to take care of you throughout the year. So that's why the Canadian Embassy will ask you for proof of funds. They want to see that you have paid for the school fees. They want to see that you still have some money in your bank account that will actually cater for your upkeep when you are in Canada. So back in 2004, I did not have the funds. I did not have anything. Then I really had that desire to go and study, And I remember there is a friend of mine that we used to live in the same house. He was a refugee from Sudan. So we were in the same high school. And because where he used to live was a bit far from where the school was, so I welcomed him into my house to come and reside with me, because we had only one term left to do our KCSE. So after the KCSE, we lost contact. Then later on, he called me when he was in Canada, and I told him that there is a school that I'd really wanted to join. So he's the one who paid for my admission fee. Then I think it was around 250 Canadian dollars. I submitted all the application, and after that they sent me an acceptance letter. Took the acceptance letter to the Canadian High Commission in Nairobi, and waited for like 2 months to be processed. And later on, they sent me a letter telling me that my application had been denied, simply because I did not prove that I have funds, which is very true. I did not have any money. I did not have even the school fees to pay. I did not have. So I was a little bit discouraged. Then after some time, within a month, I reapplied again. Then waited again for like 1.5 months. They sent me another letter, and they said, "Hey, your application has still been denied." So it was really, really discouraging. 2 times my visa application was denied, and those days, I don't know how they do it nowadays, but those days they used to put a stamp in your passport and the name of the city that you had applied in. So there was a stamp in my passport and the word Nairobi in abbreviation NRB. So every time I look at those stamps, it reminded me that I've been rejected twice. So that's how it was. And after the second time, I completely gave up. I said, I'll not force myself into going to places where I'm not needed, and where I don't even have the money to go there. So I gave up the whole process completely, and I actually removed Canada from my mind completely. I said never again, because again I wasted around 15,000 Kenya shillings. I didn't even have that money. That money I had borrowed from church members. They're the ones who had contributed. I think I still remember a lady by the name of Joan who helped me, who had given me the money for the Canadian visa fee. But here I am, I was denied the visa, and that was it. So I just forgot about it. I said, I don't want to remember. I don't want to think about moving to Canada. I don't want to think about moving to any other country. I'd also tried to like go to the US, and same thing, I'd been denied the visa. So the visa issue is a big challenge in, especially for our country, our African countries. It's a big challenge, and there is a reason for that. One of the reasons is that we are not able to raise funding. That's actually one of the reasons we are not able to raise funding. When they say, "Hey, you need to show proof that you are able to pay the school fees," then you don't have money for the school fees. So the Canadian government, or any other government, European government, or the government of the US, they do not want people to come to their country and then become a liability. And then again, these rich countries, they have also learned by experience. They have learned by the students or the people that have gone before, that have gone before. There are people that have gone before, and they end up like quitting school and looking for jobs. So what they want is that when you say you are coming to school, then stick in school. If you say you are coming to study, then they want to see that you are serious. You are serious pursuing your education. You are serious pursuing your diploma, pursuing your bachelor's degree. And sorry to say so, but in some cases that doesn't happen. And as a result of that, then they keep on introducing new laws that will make it even harder for African students to get visas to travel abroad. So that was my case, and it was really discouraging because now you had to go tell people, hey, I really loved, I really wished to have gone to this country, but I was denied visa twice. It was a bit also, it was also shameful. Yes, Violet.
All right. Kindly share the breakthrough moment.
So
When
as
did
I
it
said,
happen?
I forgot about it completely. And later on, I got married, and after my getting married, we moved to down South Africa, where I was sent there by my church to go and do some missionary work. So we went there. We were in a country, a small country called Lesotho, and we served there. My wife was working with the government of Lesotho, and I was in a full-time ministry, serving the Lord, and we had opened a church, and I was also doing business. So it is while I was in South Africa that actually God reminded me that the desire that I had when I was young, it's still valid. The desire that I had when I was young can still be achieved. So I didn't even want to think about it. I didn't even want to like start the whole process again. Uh, so I said, okay, if it's possible, if God wants me to move, then I will move. If God wants me to go there, then I won't struggle. It will just open doors, and I will go there at the right time of God. So what happened is, after our contract were over in Lesotho, after we had established the church and handed over the church, chose another pastor, and appointed a pastor and placed her in the church, we came back to Kenya. The Lord sent us to a place called Mombasa. Actually, that's where I was born, but I left Mombasa back in 1993 when I was a little bit younger. So I didn't even have time to serve the Lord there. I used to just go to Mombasa like over the weekend, a week or two, then come back. So this time round, the Lord sent us there, and I hated the idea of going to Mombasa. I didn't want to go to Mombasa. So one of the reasons why I didn't want to go to Mombasa was because of the warmth that is there, the humid that is there. So I didn't wanna like I hated the idea of me not wearing suits. I had bought so many suits and I was enjoying my suits. Then I knew if I go to Mombasa, I will not wear my suits. I'll be forced to just walk around in a t-shirt or a shirt, and I didn't like that idea. So, but because God had spoken, God had told us to go to Mombasa, we had no choice. We went to Mombasa, and our ministry really flourished. God gave us victory. We had a very successful ministry. We began a Bible school there. We started training pastors, and we had the first graduation, the second graduation. Now, when we were there serving the Lord, it is there that actually the Lord reminded us, hey guys, this is just a by the way, but I want now to take you to your place of destiny. So after you have finished the work that you're doing here, after you have established this work that you're doing here, then I will take you to the place that I promised you. So it was not in our mind. Remember, I had applied long even before I met my wife, and they had been denied the visa twice. And now here I am in Mombasa, serving the Lord successfully. We had settled in Mombasa. By this time, we had our daughter was with us. She was born in South Africa, and we were so happy. And we were just looking forward, like settling down and continuing with the ministry. God had given us lots of favor in Mombasa, and by and by, my wife one day came home and say, hey, I want to move to Canada. So she brought up the same issue that I had years ago. This was like 10 years ago. So she brought up the same issue, and I didn't want to hear about it because I always remembered what had happened and the 2 times that I had taken my visa application, and so I just ignored it. I say, hey, if it goes well, then we will move. But I didn't want even to give my effort into it. So she started the process, and it was costing a lot of money. It was costing on around 2 million Kenya shillings, and we didn't have that kind of money. Our budget was not anything to do with. We didn't have that money in the account. We didn't have it. Of course, we had money and we were comfortable. We were living comfortably, but we didn't have we couldn't get like 2 million, 2.5 million at a go. That was a lot of money for us. So my wife, she got serious with the whole idea. She started. She went to Nairobi, and she sat for an exam called IELTS, it's an English exam, and she passed. And all of a sudden, the acceptance letter from the school came, and I realized, my wife is serious about this issue. She's really, really serious about it. At that time, I was so much committed in the things of God, missions all over, preaching all over. I was so much busy doing, running the Bible school and traveling over the weekends, preaching in Nairobi, and we had radio programs going on. We had a TV program going on. So even taking this, my wife's idea, and bringing it to making it my own was a little bit harder, because already my mind was so much occupied. And again, I was now traveling around the world. I was traveling to different countries around the world. So my desire was just go travel, come back, go travel, come back, go travel, come back. That was the desires of my heart. Yes, Violet.
So you are you the did you move to Canada first, or it's your wife who moved to Canada first? So yes. Yeah, we'd like to know about the process.
What happened was that she was admitted into a nursing program. She was admitted into a nursing program, and she went for it was easy for her because she was in the States before. And she had studied it. She schooled in the States. So now she was now admitted to go and do a bridging course, which is like if you want to do nursing, they prepare you. If you want to do nursing, if you're an internationally trained nurse, then they prepare you so that you can be admitted into the nursing program, so that you can get nursing registration in Canada, which is a very difficult thing to do, especially if you are an internationally educated nurse. So she went there, but I knew, she's going, but she'll come back, because nobody now was interested into moving to another place and staying there, since already we were traveling. We had a lot of trips internationally, and nobody wanted to move and forget about Kenya. Again, God had really given us a very big success in Mombasa, doing very well. We were living a good life. So now a time came when we got all the funding that was needed, and this time round we didn't even struggle. It was as easy as ABCD, not like when I tried in 2003. So after we got the funding, we paid for the school fees, and we had money for her to use while in Canada for the whole year. So it was easy when we did the application for the visa. It came back positive. They gave us student visa, and she moved to Canada. Then while she was in Canada, because I my thought was that she will study, come back, but while she was there, then she told us that hey, there is also a program here for spouses. Spouses also can come as long as you have a spouse in Canada who is a student. Then they also allow you to bring your spouse to Canada, and that's a very nice. That's a very is that they value about family. They value about family reunion so much. As you know, Canada is a country of immigrants. US is also a country of immigrants, but we have in Canada we have this special program where if one spouse is a student in Canada, then the other spouse is allowed to come under a work permit, under what we call an open work permit, so that you can come and work as your spouse is studying. And many students have done that, but of course the open work permit is not a guarantee. There are so many students also who get denied the visa because they don't meet the qualifications. Sorry, they don't meet the requirements. So it's not an automatic thing that once your spouse is in Canada, then they'll just issue you with an open work permit automatically. You also have to meet the requirement. So we applied, and after 2 months. After a month and a half, my visa was ready. My work permit was ready. So my wife flew back to Kenya, and then we flew out together. So now she was a student, and I was working in a Christian organization, and we also applied for our kids, and they were also issued with visas, and they joined us. So, but what I'm saying is, this thing is not automatic. It didn't just happen because it's that easy. Remember, I was denied visa twice. So it was also the timing of God. It was the right time of God, and God wanted us to relocate at that particular time after my assignment in South Africa and in Kenya was finished. So after that, of course, Canada always gives you a pathway to citizenship. You come here as a student. After a student, you get to receive your work permit. After your work permit, you get to receive your PR, what we call the permanent resident, or what they call the green card in the US. Then after that, you move on to citizenship. So they have created a way that you can move from being a student to being a worker, from being a worker to being a permanent resident, and then after that you become a citizen. I think countries like I think UK, Australia, and New Zealand, they also do the same. But in the US, it's a little bit different because you can go to the US with a student visa, and after that, unless you have done engineering, unless you have done medicine, or you're a nurse, or you've done courses that they really, really require, but many students after that, they get stuck. They're not able to come back home simply because once they leave the US, then they cannot renew their visas. But as for Canada, they have this wonderful program that they have created. Number one, for family reunion, they want to reunite families. And number two, for you to move from one step to the other. You can move from being a student to a worker, from a worker to a permanent resident, from a permanent resident, and you get your citizenship. And so many people, so many African students, they have also benefited from the same programs. I've got friends who came here as students, and now they are all citizens, and they're working, and they have brought their family members, and It's just that the Canadian government wants you to follow the rules. They want people to follow the rules. And really, if you follow the rules, then once you become a citizen, you'll understand why they have put those rules. They have put those rules to help foreign students and also to help the Canadian people back here in Canada. Yes, Violet.
Wow, awesome, awesome. Thank you for sharing that particular information. So viewer, pardon the lighting at my place. You know, I usually don't interview at night, but this particular day, we had to do it at night because it is morning in Canada. So I had to adjust. And so I had to sacrifice so that we can, because I know that you really want to learn more on how to relocate to Canada. So viewer, I'd like you to, if you have any question, kindly type in the comment section. If you're on YouTube, you can type in so that we can get to answer your question. So, Brother Chabogo, there is a question here from Stella Wangeshi. Let me post so that you can see. So she's asking, can you see? Hi, Brother Chabogo. I'm a teacher by profession and also a mother of two. How can I migrate to Canada with my kids?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Stella Wangeshi. As I've said, Canada wants people, and maybe a disclaimer. I need to put a disclaimer. I'm not an immigration. I'm not an immigration expert. I'm not trained in that area. I'm not even licensed as an immigration expert. But I can just give you some advice. These not an advice you can take to the bank. So you can't act and say, hey, I took this advice from this man of God. No, this is just an advice, a friendly advice. But I'm not an immigration expert. I'm not even qualified to handle immigration issues. That's not my area. But what I know is that you can move to Canada as a student. Like she says that she's a teacher. I think she says she's a teacher by profession. Teachers are needed in Canada. She only needs to get into a teaching school. Then, because you see now the way my kids are in school here, and there is a very huge difference from the education here in Canada and the education that we have in Kenya. Very huge difference. So, like, if you come here as a teacher and they take you to school immediately and begin teaching, then you will float. And thank God they cannot do that. You will get confused and you will not even be able to teach because the curriculum here is totally different. The system that they follow, their system of education is what we call an holistic system of education. So they train a person to be, they prepare you for life. They don't just prepare you for studies, but they prepare you to be a good citizen. They prepare you for life. And they actually look at what you are gifted into, and they follow that line. If someone is gifted into writing, they follow that line. They want to make sure this person, because he's gifted in this area, let's help him and become a writer. So that's why I've said they prepare you for life. So for somebody like Wangeshi, it would be so good for her to come as a student, maybe go join a teaching school. There are so many here where she'll be taught, she'll be trained on how to become like an elementary school teacher. I'm not sure whether the school, I think there's some school that will also accept her. They will look at the transcript, her transcript, and maybe transfer some of the credits. It depends on what she has done. But if she did a degree course, then there is a possibility they can transfer some of those credits. But what I know is that she'll get into a school for 1 year or 2 years. And after that, because teachers are on high demand, teachers are on high demand. After that, she will definitely get a work permit, and she'll get a place to teach, and she'll also get a work permit. So now, after the work permit, it's upon her to work hard and to make sure that she has gotten the Canadian experience. Then after getting the Canadian experience, she can apply for permanent resident using what we call the Canadian experience class. And they will not deny her because she has studied in Canada, she has the Canadian experience, and they will allow her to get her permanent resident. As I've said, Canada is such a great nation, great people, great government, and they always need people to come and work here. It's a vast country, big, very big nation. It's the second biggest country in the world after Russia, and there's no way you can fill it here. So they always want workers to come and work. The process is somehow cumbersome, somehow long. You need to be really patient. It's not a walk in the park. It's a very long process. That one I cannot. There's no shortcut about that. It's such a long process. But at the end of it all, you will be glad that you made the right decision. At the end of it all, you will look behind and say, I thank God I spent this amount, but everything that I spent has now come back. Yes, Violet.
All right, great. So right now we are in Canada. So this person has moved from Kenya and now is in Canada. So kindly share with us, like, is it easy for them to get a job? And how is life in Canada?
Number one, you need to understand that Canada is a rich country. Canada is one of the richest countries in the world. It should be around top 10 there. They have a $2 trillion economy. So when a country has a $1 trillion economy, not just a trillion, but a $2 trillion economy, it means there's a lot of work people are doing in that country. So there's a lot of jobs. You can't say that there are no jobs. There are a lot of jobs. If I would say this in Swahili, kwamba kazi ni nyingi kuliko watu. I don't know if I'm making sense. Kazi ni nyingi kuliko watu. There are more jobs than people. So we have only 45 million people. That's the population of Canada. But there are so many jobs. And in fact, one of the greatest need that the Canadian government has, one of the greatest needs that companies have, is hiring people. We have very few people. Remember, Canada has got only 45 million people in the whole country, and this country is so big. Like in a province where we are in, this province, our province is the size of Kenya. Kenya can fit in our province 2 times. So you can imagine our province is 2 times the size of Kenya, and we only have 5 million people. Our province is the 2 times the size of Kenya, 2 times the size of Kenya, but we only have 5 million people. So there is a great need for people to migrate and come and work. There are so many jobs. Jobs are always looking for companies, organizations are always looking for people. So once you land here, it will take you like 1 week to get your papers right, because there are some things that you need to do so that you can enter the workforce. But if your papers are ready, of course, there are some of the papers you have to get them while you're here. So it will take you like 2 weeks to get a good job. 2 weeks to get a good job. You will not finish 3 weeks. 1 month will not just pass by without you landing a job to begin with. But again, getting a good job, getting the job of your dreams, that will take time. That can even take like a year, because again, you must have that Canadian experience. So like, for example, if you are working with an organization like World Vision in Kenya, so you move here, There are also organizations equivalent to World Vision. It may not be World Vision, but there are other organizations equivalent to World Vision. But if you used to be a manager in Kenya, you will not just come here and become a manager automatically. You have to start again from square A, then build your experience up until now you get the job of your choice. So that is something that you'll need also to put into consideration. Once you land here, you need to like depending on the visa that you have, you will need to think of where you want to move. There are places that are so cold. There are places that are extremely cold, and there are places where you'll make more money than other places. Like for example, if you go, Canada has got 10 provinces and 3 territories. These provinces, they are like countries on their own. They've got their own government, their own ministers, their own premier, and they have got their own laws and everything. But we have these 3 territories which are controlled by the government, directly by the government. And people who work in the territories, they earn more money than people who work in the provinces, simply because most people don't want to live in the territories. It's very cold there, extremely cold. It's sometimes minus 50 degrees cold. But when you go there, you make more money. So a simple job will easily earn you around $30 an hour, simply because they need more workers to go there, but they don't have workers who are willing to go there. So for Kenyans, and because I know Kenyans can survive in any environment. Kenyans are very hardworking people, very serious people when it comes to work. They can do very well there and make lots of money. Yes, Violet.
All right. So what if one has arrived in Canada and they want to set up their own company? Is it easy to set up your own company in Canada?
With God, nothing is impossible, my dear. With God, all things are possible. You can, depending on the visa that you have at the time of arrival, you can, if you come here under what we call permanent resident, then you are free. You've got all the rights of a Canadian except the right to vote. You can do business. You can start your own company. The only thing that you do not have a right to do is the right to vote. So you can. So many people have started their own business. Their business here by Africans. There are also businesses by other nationalities, people that have come in and began their own business, and they are doing very well because the economy is strong. That means if you do a business, you are guaranteed to succeed. So the answer to that is yes, but also it depends on what kind of business you want to do, because there are also businesses that are on high demand, but there are also other businesses that if you do, you may not succeed. For example, if you start selling those Maasai bracelets and those Maasai things, people will buy them, but it's not something that will sustain you. It's not something that you can do full time. So rather than having a Maasai shop or a shop where you sell Kenyan stuff and all that, you can just do an online shop, and you can put them on Amazon, sell them in Amazon at the same time, get a job and earn some salary, so that you'll have now a job here. You're earning some salary from your full-time job, but at the same time you have your online business and you're making money. So many people are making money that way, and eventually I know people that started that way, and right now they have gone into Amazon full-time because Amazon gives them more money than the job they earn. And I know black people who are now millionaires. The bottom line is, when you come, you cannot just come to Canada and begin business immediately. You have to taste the water. You have to settle down. It takes like a year to settle down, because you need to understand how things go by. Then you also have to employ people. And Canada has got very strict labor laws, extremely strict labor laws. You cannot you cannot deny somebody their salary here. You will go to jail. You cannot mistreat people here. You will go to jail. You cannot force people to work on the days they don't want to go. They don't want to work. So the laws here, they are very strict. So that's why I'm saying you have to come, settle down, understand how things go, how things run. Then once you have gotten into the system, it will be so easy for you to start your own business. Otherwise, you may end up getting sued, and you may end up filing for bankruptcy because you started too soon. Yes, Violet.
All right. So Stella has a question.
Yes.
She's saying, it's me again. Please don't get tired of answering me. I'm really keen on immigrating to Canada. As a teacher, do I qualify for the PNP or express entry? What does PNP or express entry mean, Brother Chabogo?
Okay, I'm really not sure if she qualifies on that. As I said earlier, I'm not immigration specialist. I'm not. I don't have any license to advise anybody on immigration matters. What she needs to do is to check the Canadian government website, or rather just check the internet and see if she qualifies. What Stella is asking, she's asking about, Canada has got the green card program, which we don't call it green card here. It's called a permanent resident program, but the permanent resident are issued by points. You need to have certain points for you to be able to get a permanent resident. So the first thing is that they look at your age, they look at the level of education. If you have done engineering, if you're a doctor, if you have done any medical studies, anything dealing with medicine, if you're a pharmacist, then it becomes easy for you, because those are the people that are needed mostly here. It becomes so easy to migrate. That's why it was also easy for my wife and I to move, because she was a nurse. Remember, she was a registered nurse in South Africa. So now Stella will need to go and check the internet and see if, as a teacher, she's qualified for that. And of course, the program is called Express Entry, where now you have to make sure you do the IELTS and pass. There's also some points they need from the IELTS. Then after that, you'll also need to prove that you have gone to school, both high school and college. That will give you some more points. And if you have family members in Canada, it will also add you more points. So there's a way they calculate those points, and then those points, a person with those points are put into a draw. So they are put into a draw, and every month there are people that will be selected. So let's say like the month of March, I think they selected around 3,000 people. Then once you are selected, you'll be given a time frame to submit the documents that the Canadian government needs you to have to qualify to be given the permanent resident. Once you've submitted all your documents, like things like your education certificates and all that, of course, before applying, you'll also, these things, your education certificates will also need to be evaluated by the Canadian government. They'll need to evaluate and see if your education and Canadian education, if they can actually match. Now, in that case, most of our Kenyan students, or other people who work in Kenya, do qualify, because you see, we were trained by the British government. Most of our studies, even our education system, came down from the British government. So it's easy for us to qualify. It's easy for a Kenyan to qualify in an express entry than for a person who were colonized by a German government. So actually, that gives us an upper hand when it comes to apply for the express entry. And there are so many Kenyans who have applied, and many of them are here working under the permanent resident permit. So it's something that is possible, but she will need to check. She will need to check that. But if she does not qualify as a teacher, I'm still insisting that she can come as a student and still advance and get her permanent residence in Canada. Yes, Violet.
Viewer, you've heard for yourself, and so I can see there are no more questions. I think all your questions are answered. If you have any questions, kindly comment even on the YouTube page. Yeah, so Jerry here is saying this is a very informative video.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you
that's positive news coming from Jerry. And if viewer, if you have not yet subscribed to this particular channel, kindly go ahead and subscribe. What I'd like to inform you is that I will be hosting Brother Chabogo, where we'll be discussing various topical subjects. So maybe during those times when I'll be hosting him, if you have any arising issue with regard now to matters immigration, you can raise them. Now, we've come to the end of the program because there are no more questions. So, what is your word of encouragement that you can share with the viewer, especially the one who's thinking of immigrating and one who has applied so many times and they have gotten a rejection letter? What word of encouragement?
My advice would be not to give up. Not to give up. There's always a room for improvement. Let them not give up. Let them keep applying, but also let them use their knowledge. Dig deep. There are so many con men out there who have conned lots of Kenyan people. So many people that are promising to give them jobs in Canada, which again lies. So let them proceed, but cautiously, knowing that with God all things are possible, and eventually they will achieve their dream. Nothing is impossible. The worst thing is to give up. Don't give up. Keep on applying. If you feel like really, you have been called to go and live overseas, then go for it. Don't give up. Don't give up. You may not get your visa today or tomorrow, but eventually your dreams are valid and your dreams will come to pass. So that would be my encouragement. The worst thing is to give up. The worst thing is to give up. Let that hope always be alive. And when the right time comes, you will move. Just like what I did. I did not give up, but I postponed the issue. I just put it aside so that I can concentrate on serving the Lord. And when the right time came, it was so easy.
All right, all right.
Yes.
We have a question from Paris Mudoni. Paris is asking, thanks, I want to come to Canada. Can you recommend any site that I can apply a job?
Now, that's why I've said, Violet, there are so many advertisements on the internet, people advertising jobs which are fake jobs. People advertising job offers which are fake. The first thing that somebody needs to know is that there are jobs that are meant for Canadians here in Canada, for people that are in Canada. So those kind of jobs, they are never given to people who live overseas. For example, you cannot apply, if you're in Kenya, you cannot apply to come and drive a taxi. They cannot issue you with a work permit to come and drive a taxi here.
Okay, why? Because there are so many taxi drivers. If they put an advert to if any taxi company puts up an advert needing taxi drivers, they will always find taxi drivers. So they always give those jobs. There are jobs that are given overseas, but these kind of jobs that are given overseas are jobs that are very hard to get people to do them locally. For example, like nursing. Not so many. We don't have lots of nurses in Canada. Doctors, we don't have lots of doctors in Canada. Engineers, we don't have lots of engineers. Pilots, we don't have lots of pilots. Okay, so whenever you apply for you to come here as a pilot, then of course there will be a way to certify your piloting license. If it's a commercial license, there is a way there is a way you need to do so that your license can also be accepted right here in Canada. And that's how so those are the kind of jobs that when you apply, you might be called to come and do them. There are also many other jobs that they need people here, but they can't find them. So this is what normally happens when a company needs somebody to work locally, but they cannot find that person. Then they will be allowed to look overseas, but they need to apply for authorization from the government. There is something called labor labor impact assessment report, LMIA, labor market impact assessment report. So without that a labor market impact assessment report from the government, no company can be allowed to source from overseas. Okay, so if I have my company today, let's say I have my company and I need to employ nannies from Kenya. I need to employ people who will come, not nannies, but people who will come and look after old people in Kenya. Okay, so what I will do, I will forward the names of the people that I need them to come. I'll first of all look for the labor market impact report from the government and tell the government, hey, I've done advertisement several times, but I've not gotten anybody who wants to work in my company. And then the immigration department, or rather the labor department, will go through it, and they will look at the advertisement that you have made, maybe on papers or on the internet, and really, if it is true you did not get an employer here, then now they will allow you to get an employer from overseas. And that's how many people have come to Canada, because there are areas that need people, but they don't get people. Like when remember, Violet, when we started talking, I told you about the territories. There are so many jobs in the territories, but people don't want to apply there. There are so many jobs there where if somebody would apply, in fact, some of the companies that are there, they already have the LMIA. They already have that labor market impact report with them, and now they are looking for people from overseas to come and work. So it all depends on the companies people applied to. If you apply to come and work in Toronto, chances are you'll not be issued with a work permit, because there are so many people working in Toronto and they don't have a problem of getting employees in Toronto. For example, if you apply to come and work where we are in Vancouver, chances are you'll be denied, because Vancouver is a big city and there are so many people here working here. If a job is advertised, within a week they'll get people. But there are remote places where there are no people, and some of these places are cold. There are a lot of snow.
But if you apply there, then it's easy for them to take you because they have always been looking for people, not finding people, and they have always desired to employ overseas because Canada depends on internationally workers to come and work and drive the economy. Without them, then our economy here will not be able to run smoothly. So jobs are there, but somebody needs to be enlightened on how to apply and where to apply.
All right, all right.
Yes.
So, questions are streaming in fast.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
and I
yes,
know.
yes. And I think now my time is
I know.
running up. It's already 11 a.m. here.
This is the last question. So, Helen Nyangasi is asking, I would wish to relocate to Canada as a caregiver for the elderly. I'm a registered clinical officer. Please advise. Yeah, so I think you had mentioned that like nurses, chances of them getting accepted is high. What about a registered clinical officer?
Okay, thank you for that question. And by the way, Violet, thank you for having me in your channel. I really appreciate. Thank you for the invitation. Let me say once again that I am not an expert on immigration. I'm not a trained expert, so I'm just giving you the advice I'm giving you is a street advice. The, the advice I'm giving you ni kama ile advice ambayo unaweza kuwa unajua ukienda pale kotini pale Kenya pale Nairobi utapata kuna tukantin pale huwa kumekaa wanasheria ambao hawana degree, they have never been to law school, but if you follow their advice utapata kesi yako ina succeed. Sijui kama umeshawahi kutana na watu kama hao, watu ambao really know the law but they have never been to law school. So that is the kind of advice I'm giving you. I'm not an expert in matters of immigration. For you to be able to advise people on immigration, you need to have gone to school and you need to have been certified. So the advice that I'm giving you is a street advice. Ni kama ya wale wanasheria ambao hawana degree, wale wanakaa pale kwa vioske, lakini ukifuata advice zao zinafaulu nyingi sana. Sasa kitu cha kwanza, I don't know if I'm also allowed to speak in Swahili.
You can speak.
Oh yeah. Sasa kitu cha kwanza hapa Canada kuna hii kitu inaitwa clinical officer ambayo iko Kenya. It's not recognized internationally. And I think the government of Kenya needs to come out clean and for my advice would be for the government to scrap that program altogether because inaumiza student wengi. That program is not recognized internationally. If you come to Canada and tell people I was a clinical officer, they'll be wondering what kind of a program is that. If you go to UK, if you go to US, if you go to New Zealand or even Australia or Ireland, and you ask people who are, I'm a clinical officer, can I get a job? They'll start questioning, what is that? The only people who are known here are nurses, and maybe there is another group of people called LPN. That's a profession on its own. So we have what we call nursing care aides, then LPN, and then nurses who are called RN, registered nurses. So for my sister who is a clinical officer, she can come here as a student and apply for what we call she can undertake a course called nursing care aid, which takes around 1 year, takes around 8 months. It takes around 8 months, so she'll be given a visa for like 1 year. So she can do that course, and afterwards she can begin to work. There are so many jobs. Nursing care aids jobs zimejaa, ni kazi nyingi kuliko wanadamu. Hizo kazi ni nyingi kuliko watu. Kwa hivyo she can apply in a remote place ambapo we have this what we call facilities where these old people stay. There are so many facilities ambao already wako na labor market impact report. They have that report already. They are just looking for people to come and work. But first of all, she needs to be trained here in Canada. She can't just come from Kenya and get a job as a nursing care aide. It doesn't work like that. She needs to come and get trained here. After she has been trained here for 8 months, she'll be registered as a care aid giver. Okay, and she'll get that registration, because when you come to registration, you're nursing. Then after that, hizo kazi zimejaa. There are 1,001 jobs. If she applies today, kesho ataitwa interview, and they are very good jobs, because it's a job that you can earn around $25 an hour, and there are so many of them, and they are, in fact, kuna watu wengi ambao walikuja with the hope of advancing to become nurses, but once walipotest hiyo raha ya pesa, walipoanza kuonja hiyo pesa, wakasema that they don't want to advance anymore, they just want to be nursing care aides, na wengi wamekuwa tu hapo, and they are making a lot of money. I know people who are building big houses back in Kenya, and they are doing nursing care aides. So she just needs to come as a student, then advance from there. But with a clinical officer, there is no way she can transfer that and come work here.
All right. So
yes.
Helen Nyangati, you've heard from Brother Chabogo himself. And viewer, I just want to say thank you for joining us. Just to inform you that me and Brother Chabogo, we were in the same primary school.
Yeah. We were in the same class. I still remember where, because I think we used to sit at the center row hapo. Kwenye hiyo row ya katikati, eh?
Kabisa.
Hapana, row ya mwisho. You used to sit near Rael.
Yes, Rael.
Yes. Na mimi nilikuwa na backbench hapo na dada na
yeah, so viewer, so Brother Chabogo tumetoana mbali, and
yes.
Yeah, so I will be hosting him on this particular show, where he will share on various topical subjects, like even how he excelled as an entrepreneur in Southern Africa. Mpaka ana export hata fruits zinakuja sijui ni Egypt ama ni Cairo.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm going to host him again. We are going to have a series of topical subjects that we are going to dwell on. And kama hiyo time utataka kuuliza swali regarding immigration, usibabaike. You just slide onto our live show, and I will definitely ensure that we've answered that particular question. So asante Brother Chabogo. Thank you for sparing your 1 hour to answer.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Karibu. So viewer, kwaheri.
Asante.
Haya, poa.